is quarterback Ty Simpson out of Alabama. Should he be worthy of a first-round draft selection in a month from today? Or is he even considered the best passer in this draft class over Fernando Mendoza? We establish the Ty Simpson line tonight. We stack the board looking at the top 5 at every position across the board and figure out just exactly where Ty Simpson fits in and if he is actually the best player available at 16 overall for the New York Jets. It's the Dylan Terraman Football Show. It's live, and it starts right now.
Not only have to understand how to win, but to understand how to consistently win.
What's going on, everyone, and welcome into another episode of the Dylan Terraman Football Show. I am your host, DT, where tonight we are establishing the Ty Simpson line. Just exactly where should he go in the first round? Should he even be a first-round quarterback in next month's NFL draft? First and foremost, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you are new. We have hit the 1,900 subscriber mark. We are 99 subscribers away from the 2,000 threshold, where we then will be giving away our Curtis Martin signed mini helmet. I just received it in the mail today at my doorstep. So in 99 subscriptions from right now, we will give away the Curtis Martin signed mini helmet. In order to enter the giveaway, $5 super chats or higher will get you on the board. $5 is one raffle, 10 is two, etc. And gifted memberships count 1 for 1 as well. With that, Ty Simpson is probably the most polarizing prospect right now in the NFL draft. Some say he should go as high as 3 overall to the Cardinals. Some say the Jets would be silly to pass on him at 16. Some think that the Jets might even be able to get him at 33. And some don't even think taking him at 33 would be the wisest choice for this franchise. So it's all over the board with Ty Simpson, with all of the prognostications. I know Dan Orlovsky came out today and said that Ty Simpson by far is the number 1 quarterback over Fernando Mendoza. I think at some point you have to draw a line if you're Dan Orlovsky. Unfortunately, I agreed with a lot of the analysis that he said, right? The big time throws, the high pressure moments, the barreling, down pressure and trying to perform under that pressure. I do think there was a leg to stand on if you're Dan Orlovsky making that argument for Ty Simpson, but you can't go as to say he's the best quarterback in the draft far and away. I do think the gap is close, and I've been kind of preaching that this whole time, is that I think the gap between Ty Simpson and Fernando Mendoza is not as big as people tend to make it. I think a lot of people put Fernando Mendoza on a pedestal and then kind of wash Ty Simpson out with the gutter, and I don't know if both things are equally true. I think it meets somewhere in the middle. And Fernando Mendoza is going to be a very fine NFL pro in Clint Kubiak's system, in my best estimation, with the Vegas Raiders, depending on what their offensive line situation looks like. I think Fernando Mendoza can elevate that entire franchise, but I don't want to discredit the fact that Ty Simpson did that as best he could with the Alabama team he was dealt with last year, right? He had 30 drops according to PFF. Still managed 30 big-time throws. I believe he had 23 turnover-worthy plays. But for the majority of his season, he had 21 touchdowns and only 1 interception. And then over the back 5 games of the season, his interception ratio went from 21-1 to 7-4 over the last 5 games as he dealt with injury and gastritis, apparently. So I don't want to say Ty Simpson is quarterback 1 by any means, and I think he's very deserving of quarterback 2 in this class specifically. But I also don't know if if Dante Moore came out, would there be more people that want Dante Moore over Fernando Mendoza? Possibly. I don't know if I quite buy that with Ty Simpson yet, but I do think there's going to be a handful of franchises that might not necessarily have Ty higher than Fernando, but would be very, very happy to have Ty Simpson as their quarterback. With that, I made a list going over all of ESPN analysts' top 5 at the position. So I used Mel Kiper, Matt Miller, Jordan Reed, and Field Yates to curate my top 5 at each position. And then I made my top 5 based on those, boards. So if I didn't agree with Mel Kiper and I agreed with Matt, I would put, his wide receiver 4 above Mel's wide receiver 4. So I made it a pseudo top 5 at the position based on my personal liking for the players. So how this is going to work, and I'll pull it up on the screen, is all the names in bold are the names that I have graded higher than Ty Simpson on film. And then the bold with an asterisk is the players that I would take over Ty Simpson given the decision, whether it's 2 or 16, obviously. So starting with the quarterback position, and we'll go all the way through to safety. Quarterback position, it's only one. It's Fernando Mendoza. Everybody else, you can put them in any order you want. I did not list these in my personal order, but Carson Beck, Drew Aller, Garrett Nussmeier, Cole Payton. I would probably have them Nussmeier, Payton, Beck, Aller if I was doing it for my personal rankings. So Fernando Mendoza is the only quarterback I'm taking over Ty Simpson, pretty cut and dry. Running back is pretty simple as well. I'm only taking Jeremiah Love, running back from Notre Dame, over Ty Simpson. I'm not taking Jadarian Price, Mike Washington, Emmett Johnson, and Nicholas Singleton. I'm not taking any of those running backs over Ty Simpson at 16. Wide receiver, this one gets a little bit interesting. The top 3 for me are Lemon, Tate, and Tyson in that order. I would take all 3 of them if they were on the board over Ty Simpson. Now, Omar Cooper Jr., you see, does not have an asterisk because I have Omar Cooper graded higher on film than Ty Simpson. It's splitting hairs. I believe it's a half a point, maybe a full point different from Omar Cooper to Ty Simpson. I have them both as very high second-round picks. They don't get first-round grades for me. The other 3 wide receivers do. So I would take Ty Simpson over Omar Cooper. So that's where I would draw the line with wide receivers is instead of taking wide receiver 4 in my estimation, I would rather take Ty Simpson. Tight end position, I'm only looking at Kenyon Sadiq, but I'm probably still prioritizing Ty Simpson. Again, we're talking about the positional value, quarterback over tight end, etc. So Kenyon Sadiq, while film grade was higher than Ty Simpson, I think I would still lean Ty Simpson over Kenyon Sadiq. Offensive tackle, I have Francis Mauigoa rated higher than Ty Simpson, but I just don't think you're going to take a tackle that highly with that high of a pick, right? I understand it's a premium position, but we just don't need it. And we're not drafting a swing tackle at 2 overall. And Mauigoa is probably not going to be there at 16 anyway. But Spencer Fano, I have him rated higher than Ty Simpson on film. And I put the asterisk there because I would take Fano over Ty Simpson with the plan of putting him in at guard, or potentially, like our friend Dom C of Project Prospect pointed out, he might even be able to slide in all the way to center. So potentially 4 to 5 position versatility for Spencer Fano. I would probably take Fano over Ty Simpson in that situation. Protect Geno Smith as best you can and ride with whatever he gives you in 2026. I would take Simpson, over Freeling, Caden Proctor, and Blake Miller. And then on the interior offensive line, it's pretty simple. It's just Venga Aone from Penn State. He's the only guard that I have rated higher than Ty Simpson on film, and I would take him if they were both on the board at 16. I'm not taking Pregnon. I think you can get him between 33 or 44, one of those picks. Chase Besantis, the same range. Keelan Rutledge, I would hope, maybe a back end of the second round for him out of Georgia Tech, and then Jalen Farmer from Kentucky, I still wouldn't take over Simpson. Moving on to the defensive side of the ball, Arvell Reese, Ruben Bain, David Bailey, all edge rushers that I have graded over Ty and that I would take over Ty. Obviously, these guys are in the discussion more for 2 overall than 16, but had to include them in the discussion. Akeem Mesidor, that's where I'm drawing the line for Ty Simpson with the edge rusher room. I have Akeem Mesidor rated higher than Ty Simpson, but I do think if push came to shove, they're both on the board. Assuming they're going to go edge at 2 as well, maybe they go wide receiver and surprise everybody. But Akeem Mesidor for me is where I draw the line, and I would take Ty Simpson over Akeem Mesidor. And of course, then I would take him over Zion Young, Keldrick Falk, TJ Parker, Cassius Howell, and R. Mason Thomas. Defensive tackle, there's nobody in the top 5 that I would take over Ty Simpson. Now, there was an argument, early on, maybe Peter Woods, but I just don't see it anymore. And I think you can get him closer to 33. Maybe he won't make it out of the first round, but I think he's going closer to 33 than he is to 16 at this point. Caden McDonald as well. Lee Hunter, that's a huge target, literally and figuratively, for the Jets at 33 from Texas Tech. And then Christian Miller from Georgia and Caleb Banks rounding out the top 5. Still would take Ty Simpson over any of those guys. Linebacker room, Sonny Styles is the only linebacker I would take if they were both there at 16. CJ Allen to me is a bit of a tie, and the film goes to CJ Allen in terms of the lean, but positional value, the ability to get a Anthony Hill, Jacob Rodriguez, or Jake Golday in the second round, that gives me the lean to take Ty Simpson at 16 over CJ Allen. I don't know how realistic it is that CJ Allen is the second, maybe even third off-ball linebacker, however you designate Arvell Reese. Maybe CJ Allen is the quote-unquote third off-ball linebacker, and if he's going in the top half of the first round, I don't know if I see 3 off-ball linebackers going that high. So CJ Allen, to me, I would not take over Ty Simpson. The 2 cornerbacks at the top, Mansour Delane from LSU and Jermod McCoy from Tennessee, coming off the ACL. Jermod McCoy was close, and I almost didn't put the asterisk on him, but I wanted to lean towards the other prospect from Ty Simpson to just show how many players could be prioritized over a Ty Simpson if you were the New York Jets. So Jermod McCoy gets the nod, as well as Mansour Delane. I think they're both really highly talented corners, and I have a feeling we're going to go corner slightly earlier than people anticipate in this draft. So maybe it's not necessarily at 16, but if one of these guys is at 16, my answer would be to take one of these 2 corners over Ty Simpson. I'm not taking him over, or I am taking Simpson over Avion Terrell from Clemson, Colton Hood from Tennessee, and Chris Johnson from San Diego State. Those are more in the contention for early day 2 cornerbacks. And then the safety room. This is where it got really interesting, and I gave all of the advantage to, the safeties instead of Ty Simpson in this exercise. Caleb Downs, Emmanuel McNeil-Warren, and Dylan Thieneman all graded out higher on film for me than Ty Simpson, and I would take all 3 safeties over Ty Simpson. I had a couple internal debates about Dylan Thieneman versus Ty Simpson, and I said I'm going to lean with the prospect opposite of Ty Simpson just to prove my point at the end of this entire slide. But I would not take Halsey or Jalen Kilgore over Ty Simpson. I think that's where I draw the line. So the top 3 safeties for me, and really Emmanuel McNeil-Warren at 16 has been one of my favorite mock picks in the mock drafts that I do. And I would absolutely love that for the Jets. I have him a little bit higher than I would a Dylan Thieneman, but I think both are worthy of the 16 overall pick. That brings us to the final tally. So the left-hand column, the numbered column, you see 16 players ranging from Fernando Mendoza all the way down to Dylan Thieneman. Those are the 16 players where if the Jets like this player as much as they like Ty Simpson, I would still take the player listed on the board here. So I understand positional value, and I just think the talent is outweighing the positional value with all of those 16 prospects. Now, the 5 prospects on the right-hand column, Omar Cooper Jr., Kenyon Sadiq, Francis Mauigoa, Akeem Mesidor, and CJ Allen, for whatever reason, whether it's I don't think they're going to be there at 16, whether it's positional versatility or positional value, I just think that I would take Ty Simpson over these guys. But you have 21 prospects on the screen right now where I feel like it's a conversation. And if that's the case with the Jets, they should probably lean with the prospect opposite of Ty Simpson, if I'm being honest. And I understand I've been touting his upside and saying you got to take a swing on quarterback upside. And if he hits, it's going to be a genius pick. And I still believe all of those things. In terms of talent, I just think a lot of these guys have a higher talent threshold that outweighs the other components of the entire draft scenario. So that's where I consider the Ty Simpson line. He is my 17th player in this exercise. Of course, there's situations where the Jets might not want to even look at a cornerback in the first round. So you can take Mansour Delane and Jermon McCoy off, and now he bumps up to the 15th player, and you can just start playing the game if you're the Jets and whittling down prospects. It also goes to show that I feel like there's going to be a player on the board at 16 that I think the Jets really like, and it doesn't necessarily have to be Ty Simpson. So it's also an exercise to show that the board could fall in the most doomsday Jets scenario, and we could still come away with a player that we actually really like at 16. With that, I will open it up to the room. I see 48 of you guys in here. I really appreciate it on a Tuesday afternoon. Get it started off with our guy, Jake Asman. You guys probably are all tuning in from the Jake Asman show. I've been deemed the post Jake Asman party over here on this channel. I appreciate you gifting one membership. I will have to log into YouTube to see who got that membership because that person will be entered. Actually, Jake will be entered one more time on the wheel. Excuse me. Let's see what else we got. Chris B in here, the most optimistic Jets fan we've ever met. He says, hey, Dylan, hope all is well. Like and support. Yes, absolutely, Chris. Like and subscribe to the channel. 99 away from 2000, where we will be giving away the Curtis Martin mini helmet. Really excited for that one. Bill M., I appreciate you. My guy, Tank for Ty. I did get your email, by the way. I will respond. I did see it. I had not watched that, what you sent me yet. But, yeah, I'm not with you. Ty, I don't know if Ty's QB1. I can't say that. Mendoza's still QB1 for me, but it's close. I have Mendoza with an 85.5 out of 100 grade. And then I have Ty Simpson with an 84.5 out of 100. So 2 points different. Mendoza is like a low to mid first round grade. And then Ty Simpson is a very high second round grade. But I don't have 32 first round grades. That's not how it works. I have about 14, maybe 13 first round grades. So to me, Ty Simpson's worth a first round pick. I would love to trade back to 24 with the Cleveland Browns. Let them come up and get a tackle. We drop back to 24 and get Ty Simpson, or you trade up to a position in that range to get a quarterback. I know the most recent Field Yates mock has the Cardinals from 34 going up to 26 with the Buffalo Bills to get their quarterback of the future in Ty Simpson. So, and I've been saying that fit for a long time makes sense. Mike LaFleur and Ty Simpson could do a lot of good things in Arizona. Bill M. No, see, you're not dumb because you like Bailey. And I think that this is where the discussion starts to turn a little toxic. I know you're probably replying to somebody else in the chat, but I think the overall narrative that if we're not all in agreement on the same prospect, the person whose outlier take it is dumb or stupid or whatever. I don't agree with that. It's the draft. Literally anything can happen. We could be arguing about Reese, Bailey, and Bain, and then all of a sudden Zion Young or TJ Parker or somebody like Dame Tucker from Western Michigan is the best edge rusher in the entire class. So you're not dumb for liking a guy. I think where it gets dumb is standing so strongly on a prospect that you have to, kind of knock down another prospect. I think that's where it starts to get a little muddy in the draft discourse for me that I don't really take part in. If you're going to throw those accusations around like, Arvell Reese is just going to be a bust. I know it. It's like, all right, my crystal ball doesn't work as well as yours apparently. So, but that's part of the draft season. That's why I think the draft should be in March instead of April, so we don't get these weird takes with a month out, like Dan Orlovsky today. Johnny boy, what's up, man? I appreciate you. This is just chilling at the kiddos' practice, listening to the soothing voice of DT. I hope I'm not putting you to sleep too hard, but I appreciate you, Johnny boy. Try not to like overuse my voice. Well, this is the whole question, right, Ty? How can we take a safety over a franchise quarterback? I don't want to say there's a such thing as a safety franchise safety, right? I think that's just silly. But Caleb Downs, in terms of talent, what I've seen comparatively to years past at the safety position, he's probably, second in line behind Kyle Hamilton in terms of safeties that I've watched leading up into the draft. So I'm really interested to see where Caleb Downs goes. Emmanuel McNeil-Warren and Dylan Thieneman, they've kind of been risers throughout the process. I think EMW's tape is a little bit better than Thieneman. Now, maybe Thieneman has a little bit more versatility that people want to tap into. And obviously the athletic scores were ridiculous for DT out of Oregon. So it's always funny, right? When the games stop being played, what happens to the board and the prospects and who rises, who falls, how much is it based on football things, how much is it based on non-football things. So if you're going just based on talent and you're saying, screw it, we just want to build the roster out and we'll wait for the perfect opportunity to strike at quarterback, maybe you can argue a safety like I mentioned before. But if you think he's a franchise guy, I'll go back to my kind of, statement line about Ty Simpson. If they think he's a top half of the league passer in his first 3 to 4 seasons, you have to do it. I think Cam Ward was 17th in passing yards last year. You would take Cam Ward's rookie year from Ty Simpson in the 2026 Jets right now. I promise you. I don't even have to look at the stats and tell them to you. We watched Justin Fields throw -10 net passing yards, 4 games under 60 yards for the game. We will take Cam Ward production at quarterback. Let's see what else we got here. Peter Castro says, Dylan, go get Ty. Okay, so you're on board with Ty Simpson, Peter Castro. I know you like Taylon Green a little bit later on in the draft, and I like Taylon Green as well. But yeah, I mean, like I said, I would do the exercise with the Jets and see what their big board looks like, and maybe they only have 11 guys in that list before Ty Simpson, and then you have to entertain it at 16. So it's going to be so interesting. There's just so many different avenues that you could take. Even if you draft Ty Simpson, like if he's okay, you can explore 3 first-round picks next year, and then if Ty sucks his second year, 2028 class. Like there's just so many different options where I don't want to say you can't do this because it stops you from doing that. And I don't think Muji is operating under those circumstances. There's not like one singular move that I feel like prohibits another move from happening in the future. I still think he leaves all the cards open on the table, and all the options and avenues are still available to him because of the amount of resources we have. So I can be convinced either way. Ty Simpson, no Ty Simpson. It's leaning like the Jets and all the mock drafts recently and just the national talk about the Jets in the draft says they're not going to take Ty Simpson in the first round, and that's completely okay. But that's just my thoughts on it. If the Jets and I do not align on Ty Simpson's evaluation, perfect. Don't take him. Don't waste your time. Don't burn the pick. Don't do it. Rob, what's up, man? I appreciate you. Jets family is saying hello right back at you. Paganardi in the chat. What's up, guys? I appreciate you as always. Bit of I guess like a scheduling note, but I got approved for this rental property yesterday. So not sure how much content's going to be coming out the end of this week and most or all of next week until I get settled into my new apartment. But we got the rental property. We were one of 5 people who got to view the place. We were the first viewer of the place and we secured it. So I'm very, very grateful to that family. It's about a 20-minute drive from my house currently, but it's a lot closer to work, and I'm really excited. But the content for maybe the next week and a half-ish, the background might not look the same. There might be some patched over holes in the wall from behind me when I take all this stuff down, but we will have a new setup come the I guess the first week of April. Appreciate that, Kev. Appreciate that, Ty. Yeah, Peter Castro. Yeah, I'm with you, man. I don't want – okay, Nussmeier is the only one of this group I would accept. Aller, I can't do it yet. Beck, sure, whatever. He has infinite amount of starts in college. I thought if he came out after Georgia before transferring to Miami, probably would have had his best or highest draft stock peak. But, yeah, Nussmeier to me would be the only one. I liked what I saw when I was in Mobile. He's just really small. And my issue is any of those 3 names, right? They have to play. They have to play in 2026. There's no way around it. We're the New York Jets. That's just how it goes. And if Geno Smith sucks for the first 3 weeks, even if it's Carson Beck, people are going to be screaming for him. And then we'll understand why Carson Beck was a 5th-round pick or should have been a 5th-round pick, you know? So, yeah, I'm with you there. No to any of those 3. Appreciate you, Bill. Appreciate you, Grenade, Chris B. Ralphie, stream from the attic. Is there an attic space? I didn't see if there was a crawl space. I should have looked up. I did see that there was a ceiling fan in the bedroom, but I didn't look up in the hallway or anything. I don't know if I have a crawl space or an attic, but it's brutal. I think you're a Southern guy, Ralphie. You know how hot it is. Going up in an attic that's not air conditioned and no, not doing it. It's 80 degrees here this week. Johnny boy, I appreciate you, bro. Thank you. Let him know. Let him know who the DT is. Coach, smash the like button. I appreciate you, man. Thank you. 75 of you guys in the room. Probably going to be a bit of a shorter stream, but I did want to come out and, establish the Ty Simpson line. Tomorrow, I am going to be going live with Buffalo Jet Fan on my channel tomorrow night, probably 8:30. And that's when we're going to hit all of the pro day news, right? I know the Jets are doing their pro day circuit. You got Glenn, Muji, you got Reich, you got a bunch of front office guys and scouting guys out on the road doing the pro day circuit. That's what Buffalo and I are going to cover tomorrow. I wanted to wait until the Ohio State pro day was done. I know everybody keeps talking about, the 2026 quarterbacks, but there's some 2027 quarterbacks in the mix here as well, right? The Jets today are at Notre Dame, and then tomorrow they'll be at Ohio State. So you have CJ Carr and Julian Sayin, respectively. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting. But that's tomorrow's show, tomorrow night at 8:30. Buffalo Jet Fan and we couldn't get the scheduling to work yesterday. I had something come up last minute I had to go take care of. Ralphie, okay, you're New York. Okay. Maybe it's because you're an Alabama fan. I just assumed you were a Southern guy. Let's see what else we got. Yeah, the DT Global Studios. I'll have to ask for his background. In the meantime, while we're under construction behind me, I'll just throw up the Beast Breaker attic. Austin, what's up, man? I appreciate you. I did see Flacco to the Bengals. I think it makes sense, right? He finished off the season there and did pretty well. Fine selection for them. I don't think Flacco was in contention for coming to the Jets at this point in free agency. But I did get your hoodie. It just arrived. It's over there in the corner in the box. I will be unboxing that at 2000 to wear on the show. I appreciate you, Austin. Thanks for tuning in. Billy says, I think the right choice is to wait till 2027 for a quarterback. Fix the roster this year. All right. So, yes, I agree with the statement. But also, if you take a quarterback, let's just say 33, we're not going to put him at 16. We'll say 33. Ty Simpson's there and you take him. Are you still able to fix the roster with one less pick because you allocated it to Ty Simpson? I think so. And if you can't do that, you're probably not good at your job. So, yes, I agree. You want to put the roster in place around the quarterback. But in my opinion, the Jets have enough of the framework to insert a quarterback and help him grow with the entire team, with the roster, with the offense specifically, right? You have all 5 of your offensive linemen in place on paper today. Fashanu, Parham, Myers, Tippmann, Membu. You have your running back in the fold for one more year. Breece Hall doesn't help your quarterback next year if he doesn't re-sign, if he plays on the tag and leaves. You have A.D. Mitchell and Garrett Wilson, who are fine as a 1 and a 3, and then you can get a 2 at 16 because we're getting Ty Simpson at 33 in this case. So you have 3 wide receiver options. You have Mason Taylor. You have a second or a 4th round pick to spend at tight end. You have the infrastructure around him on offense. I think you have the offensive coaching staff to develop Ty Simpson in a manner that's not going to shove him out on the field too quickly. And then your defense has enough to be average in the NFL, maybe slightly below average, maybe 18th in the league, but you have enough where I don't think the quarterback situation that he's walking into, that's a better situation than Mendoza's walking into with the Vegas Raiders, right? And technically the Jets are picking 2. So they're coming from the similar backgrounds as 3-win teams in 2025, but those quarterbacks will be walking into immensely different situations. So I agree you want to put the roster together, but I actually think the Jets are in a spot where the roster is mostly put together where one pick on a quarterback doesn't hurt them. Bill M says, who was Reich looking at today in Notre Dame? So you have obviously this year's prospects. We know most of this year's prospects. It's like Love and Malachi Fields are the 2 playmakers, but CJ Carr is the quarterback who could be in next year's class. So that's the quarterback angle of it. And Frank Reich was there talking to, I think it was the running backs coach and the head coach, but I'm not reading too much into Frank Reich talking to college coaches. Like he literally was in college last year at Stanford. So a lot of those guys are, his friends and colleagues and whatnot. So I'm not surprised that Reich is there talking to those guys. Nick Shine. I'm just here because DT threatened me with physical harm if I didn't show up. Yeah, I said 3 p.m. flagpole, Nick Shine. Be there, be square. Appreciate you, Nick. And you are still a mod, so that does show I love you, as Bill says. You taught me how to do it, so now you're here. Yeah, I do have that tattooed, actually. I do. $33 is a guaranteed starter or should be. QB is always at best 50-50. Well, yeah, of course. I mean, every pick is 50-50, and the player at 33 is not guaranteed to be a starter. What if it's a linebacker and he's not better than Jamie and Sherwood out the gates, and they don't want to play him as that guy next to Demario Davis just in the beginning, right? So it's going to be interesting how they view Ty Simpson. That's what it really all comes down to, and it sounds like a lazy take, and I can tell you all my feelings about him, but if I got wind that the Jets hated Ty Simpson and they have nothing to do with him in the first round or even at 33, then I'd probably stop talking about Ty Simpson, to be honest. Bill M, that is where it's located, yes. Peter Castro, $9.99 super chat. So he is in for 2 on the Curtis Martin mini helmet wheel. I appreciate you, Castro. He says Ty is a must. Yeah, look, I don't subscribe to the theory that taking him makes it easier to fire everybody if it doesn't work. I honestly think you can argue the other way around. You say, hey, we took Ty Simpson, we got enough glimpses out of him, and maybe it doesn't work. And now we're sitting here with the Colts' third overall pick, and we're picking at like 12th naturally. And the Cowboys or Packers are picking at 18. And you want to say, hey, we can combination pick, a second rounder and our natural first rounder at 12 and move up and keep 3 overall and still get we can do so much next year that taking Ty Simpson and just saying, okay, if it doesn't work, everybody's screwed. I actually don't think that's the case. And maybe I'm being a little bit naive to the situation. I understand the sense of urgency everybody's working under. And I think everybody has a sense of urgency, even guys like Darren Muji. Like, I don't think he was given some magical, blessing from Woody Johnson where it's like, you're here for 2027, no matter what, don't worry. Like, you can't, no, Muji's not operating like that, nor should he be. And Woody Johnson's probably the last person that would say that to Muji when we still don't know who actually has final say on contracts. And I think it's still the guy who had final say on, personnel moves and things like that last year in Aaron Glenn. So Ty is a must for me, and I would take him in 90% of the mock drafts that I do and present to you guys, but I have to start doing different combinations of mock drafts just to kind of cover all my bases and say, okay, maybe they go this route at 16. So that's how 33 and 44 get spun off of that pick. So I'm just I wish I could be a fly on the wall for that war room meeting when they talk about Ty Simpson and just see what they think about him. Because I think he's worth it. I think he's worth the shot at 16. No way, Cisco. Is this real? Did Kyle Clifton do this? I've been waiting for Kyle to do this. I'm glad he snapped an image of the background before it is no longer. I'm gonna have to go back and watch. Cisco, let me know which one that was. If I replaced Darren Muji, I would take Ty Simpson at 16 and I wouldn't look back. I wouldn't trade up for him anymore. I'm kind of off that train because I've done the exercise so many times of like doomsday scenarios and who's on the board. I don't think it's worth trading up for. You can still get a guy that I think you really like. I would take him at 16 and I wouldn't look back. Ted Ruggiero gifting 5 memberships to the A1 Since Day One community. Ted R., I appreciate you. I'm putting you down for 5 in the Curtis Martin mini helmet raffle. Here it is. I went with the coolest helmet I can find. I got the green, a little bit of the throwback. One of the neatest signatures you'll ever see, Curtis Martin. And it comes with a certificate of authenticity that is inside the helmet. I made sure that came along with it. So thank you, Ted, for the gifted memberships. If you got a membership, please make sure to thank Ted. I've been hearing the rumors about the Titans wanting to come up. I don't know how true or untrue they might be. Maybe Connor Hughes can ask Robert Saleh directly if that's their draft plan and then report on it on Jets' final drive. And that would be really helpful for Jets fans. But that would probably be the most realistic trade down scenario I could see at the top of the draft is just flipping back to 4 and you're guaranteed one of the edge rushers or Sonny Styles. Now, you don't make that trade if they want a defensive player. You only make that trade if they want Jeremiah Love. But that's it for number 2. Pick 16, I would trade down as far as like 24 with the Browns. But I haven't heard anything about like that being actually a thing. And then 33, I think in real time will be the pick that actually gets traded down from because there are just going to be so many better options at 33 that people didn't anticipate making it there. So they're going to be calling the Jets all Friday, morning and afternoon before the draft kicks off on night 2 to come up to 33. DKB, what's up, man? I appreciate you hopping in here. We're going to have to collab soon. I don't know if you heard, but I am moving in a couple weeks. So once I get settled in the new place, I will reach back out to you for sure, and we'll have to collab. Been enjoying all your videos. Go check them out, DKB Jets, just like you see it on the screen here. Go check out and support his YouTube channel. Gypsy says, so Wright gets a quarterback to groom. Do you really think he'll be here that long? If AG fails, this whole staff is on the chopping block. Okay, so are you just saying that they should just bypass quarterback completely? Because I'm okay with that too. I don't think it's even worth entertaining the day 3 pick at quarterback because you're basically lighting it on fire. You still need a quarterback 2 because that whoever that quarterback is on day 3, Aller, Klubnik, Beck, that guy probably shouldn't play in 2026, in my opinion. He should be quarterback 3 at best. And you're doing the Carson Beck tank in December. So do you just want to bypass quarterback completely? But I agree. I mean, everybody's on the chopping block. And I mean, everybody operates under some sort of chopping block. I get it. AG and the whole staff after last year are definitely on a hot seat to some degree. But I mean, if you're not coaching like your job's on the line, what's the whole point? So I think they're going to give it all they got regardless, whether that is with a quarterback or not. I just don't know if you're saying that as like, let's just ignore quarterback completely or not. Yeah, motivated T. I can get behind this thought process, right? Not necessarily the measurables, but the career starts. Like the historical data is out there where 15 starts isn't a ton, and obviously it's probably more likely than not that you're not a good quarterback in the NFL. Hey, my guy Kev in the chat. What's up, Kev? I appreciate you. He says, what positions have the most value in the second and third round? Okay, so you're probably asking this from a Packers perspective. I think linebacker, corner, and tight end. I think there's a lot of day 2 guys at those 3 positions. Linebacker, because you still have Anthony Hill, Jake Galday, Jacob Rodriguez. Safety, you have Halsey. You have Jalen Kilgore in the 3rd round. And then what was the other position I said? Cornerback. Oh, yeah, you have like Brandon Siss. You'll have Chris Johnson. I almost called him CJ2K. Chris Johnson. You have a ton of like depth guys. Now, I know the Packers don't pick until I think it's like 60-something in the 2nd round, maybe a little bit earlier. I think it's 50-something. So in terms of like top 50 guys, you're probably looking at like tight end. I still think Anthony Hill like slides towards like the middle of like round 2. So yeah, you could probably get a linebacker, replace Quay Walker, put him next to Edge Cooper in the middle. That'd be cool. I appreciate you, Kev. Thanks for tuning in. Black Gypsy, I would be so down for this. And I saw your comment about a day 3 pick. Yeah, if they could get reset 2 and then trade up with like the Saints at 8 and get Downs ahead of the Chiefs and the Bengals, ooh, yeah, that'd be fun. Now you're talking about the potential of having a top 12 defense. If you could take the ball away at the back end and disrupt the passer on the front end, I think you're talking about a top half of the league defense in that situation. I would not be opposed, man. I would prefer they go offense just because offensive driven league, but dude, come away with 2 blue chippers and Downs is my number 1 player in the class, 100%. And Reese is my number 4 player. It's Downs, Styles, Love, and then Reese. So, yeah, I'd be so on board with this. Whoa, our guy Nate using a 7-month membership super chat. I appreciate you, Nate. Sims has Boston 1, Tyson 2, Brazel 3. What are your thoughts on those three? Assuming Ty goes before the Jets pick, what other quarterback do you want? So Boston, I like Boston at 33. I don't like him at 16. The way he beats press is really impressive. No pun intended there. But I like the amount of reps he has gone up against press coverage and beaten it. Now he doesn't create a ton of separation off of it, right? He can win at the line of scrimmage and he can win at the catch point. He doesn't always necessarily win at the break point. And then after the catch, I think he's a little bit limited as well. Those are kind of the four breakdown points of a wide receiver: at the line of scrimmage, at the break point, at the catch point, after the catch. Boston has two of those things, in my opinion. Tyson, I think he has all of those in varying degrees, and the after the catch ability makes me the most nervous because is he running out of bounds because he wants to avoid contact because of his prior injuries? Is he just trying to save himself for, future football life, and he's going to, absorb those hits at the NFL level? So Tyson to me is a really fun player and like very slight shades of Odell Beckham. And I know Odell was way more explosive than Jordan Tyson was, and I get that, but that's kind of where the vibe is for him. Brazel, I don't really love, but I can totally understand if he's the pick at 44. I like Jeremy Bernard, who you don't have listed here, and I don't think Sims even ranked him. But Jeremy Bernard to me is somebody who's really fun out of Alabama. The versatility, the slot, the boundary, the inline, taking on a blocker at the point of attack, the backfield usage, and the routes out of the backfield he runs. So I would like Jeremy Bernard over Chris Brazel. I can't fault them for taking a guy like Brazel, who's just, tall and gets down the field. But I feel like they kind of have that in AD. So I would lean a little bit differently. But I like all those guys to varying degrees. Tyson at 16, Boston at 33, Brazel at 44. And then assuming Ty goes before the Jets pick at 16 or at all, what other quarterback do I like? I would say the only other quarterbacks I would prioritize are Garrett Nussmeier and Taylon Green. I saw them up close at the Senior Bowl. I really liked what they did in person. They were pretty impressive. I thought Taylon Green, he can spin it. The ball comes off his hand really well. It doesn't always come off accurately, but I do think he is pretty special in terms of velocity and, obviously his dual threat ability. And then Garrett Nussmeier, yeah, I feel like his hands might be growing between the Senior Bowl and the draft because now he's over the 9-inch threshold and he's still really slight. I think he's like just over 200 pounds at 6'1". I'm not sure what he has in terms of being an NFL starter, but I do think he has like the Mitch Trubisky late career arc where it's like he could be a really good backup for a team and come in and win you games and do a lot of things. I just don't know if he could be a full-time starter. So I would say Nussmeier or Taylon Green would be my two favorites there. But I appreciate you using your super chat. 7 months. Wow. I think you might be one of the first members if you're 7 months in already, Nate. I appreciate you. He's a diehard A1 since day one. 88 of you guys in the room. I really appreciate it. Remember, we are doing the Curtis Martin mini helmet raffle giveaway once we hit 2,000 subscribers. $5 super chats and up gets you on the wheel. 5 is 1, 10 is 2. Gifted memberships are 1 for 1. 1 membership gifted equals 1 entry. And we'll be giving that away as soon as we hit 2,000. Hoping to hit 2,000 before the draft. That would be incredible. Did not think in my first year I would be anywhere close to 2,000 subscribers. I thought I'd honestly be struggling to get to 1,000, but you guys are, incredible with your support, and this community is truly one of the best. Thanks, Gypsy. I really appreciate that. I have not. I'll admit I've been slacking on the tape ever since the start of March. My Patreon got screwed up, and I've not been able to access all of my Patreon subscriptions since the start of March. Some I'm allowed to, some I can't. And of course, the film one is one of the ones that I couldn't get to. So I got it figured out for April, We'll get it back. Hopefully April 1st, it'll just recycle and my payment will go through and everything will work out. But I've been, starved of watching tape. That's why the Taylor Green has not, the film review has not come yet. Why I haven't done any like second round guys. I've been blocked out of the Patreon since March 1st. So 2 more weeks and we can get it back. And I'll be talking prospects again. I'm so excited for all the film breakdowns on when the guys actually get drafted, right? And then you can finally like get more excited about the guys that you didn't necessarily love watching on tape. Like what is the position I don't love watching offensive guard, right? But when we draft a guard, it's like, okay, now I have like a little bit of a higher spirit going into watching the tape. Whereas like first time you're going through the guards, you're like, all right, well, here's this guy, Penn State. We know Penn State's got good offensive linemen. And then, Vega obviously pops off the screen, but I think offensive linemen can get a little boring. So once they become Jets, I really start enjoying watching the tape a little bit more. No, I don't have a Patreon. I have been thinking about doing a Patreon, and I wanted to gauge your guys' interest in that. Instead of just, I would pretty much do away with the A1 since day one tier on the YouTube channel and do the Patreon where I would do, unedited film reviews, because as you guys know, every single time I do a film review, it gets taken down off YouTube and then they demonetize it. And it's a pain in the ass to clip out 6 minutes of the most important content in the film reviews on YouTube. So I have been dabbling in the interest of Patreon, but no, something I subscribe to, I was blocked out of, Bill. Oscar, this is a good question. Are there any unspoken rules when it comes to film breakdowns? And has anyone ever stolen someone else's breakdown or ideas? I would assume the second part has happened. There's just too many people out there that make content where it's almost impossible to not double up. I wouldn't consider it stolen, but I do think there's an element of like we were just on the same wavelength and we put out a video. Like when I first made my channel, Matt O'Leary and I, within the same like minute, put out a video and the thumbnails looked almost identical. Mine was like a great value version of Matt's because he has a really nice graphics, whatever that he makes. And I just did my Google slide and it was like almost identical to Matt's in thumbnail and content. And I had to text him. I'm like, dude, I'm so sorry. Like, I didn't even think that like we would be this close in our videos. And like, I don't want people to think we copy each other. He's like, dude, this is part of the content community. So like, it definitely happens where the content is, I guess, duplicated, we'll call it. But unspoken rules, I mean, for me personally, I just try not to take anything that they say or like any like phrases that they use and all of a sudden pretend like it's a phrase that I've used my entire life watching a prospect. Now, if I hear them talking about a specific, route concept, and I want to study that concept more, then I'll feel like I can knowledgeably talk about that concept. But I can't just think of like an unspoken rule where it's like, oh, they do this, so I can't do that. Like I take bits and pieces of people's film breakdowns, like the drawing pad. That is a total QB school thing. JT O'Sullivan has it. His is like much more elaborate than mine is. But yeah, there's bits and pieces you take from other people without trying to duplicate it. Kelly, I appreciate it. You probably got the membership from Jake or Ted. So either one of them, you can thank them. I appreciate you for tuning in and thank you for all the support. Kelly is part of the 1.4% on this channel. Johnny Boy, RIP to the OnlyFans guy. Not sure if they're accepting new content creators on their website or not. Wild Wave, what's up, man? I appreciate you. 6 rings. Edelman jersey came in 500 USD for his autograph. That's great. I'm happy for you, man. Julian Edelman is not liked in this community. Ooh, Wild Wave. I like this one. When do we extend Tippmann? Well, first, calm your freaky down. And second, I would say mid-season or like right as soon as the season's wrapping up, like kind of how they did the Josh Myers and Jeremy Ruckert extensions. I think they want to see a little bit of proof of concept in Reich's offense with a couple of these guys first before they go out and just pay them. But I do think Tippmann should get the extension before the end of the regular season this year. Hey, if we can make this work, Jets Jesus, if we can make a thumbnail thing work where I can just kind of change the background up a little bit, I'm all for it, man. You are the guru, the graphics guru. We'll add to your list of nicknames here. I appreciate you, Jets Jesus. Let's see what else we got. Coming up on the hour mark, 100 of you guys in the room. Like the video, subscribe to the channel. I knew I saw her in here. What's up, JoJo? I appreciate you for tuning in, as always. Yes, Cisco, 1.4%. I finally saw the demographic breakdown in my analytics on YouTube. It wasn't showing the information for a while, but yeah, we're at 1.4%. Not too bad. Not too bad. Ooh, I like this question from DKB. How do you feel about targeting the premium positions versus some of the unicorns of the draft, like Sonny, Downs, etc.? So I'm all for the premium picks going to premium positions. And the premium positions that I view: quarterback, left tackle, wide receiver, cornerback, and edge rusher. Now you can kind of eliminate cornerback, or you can convince me that it's the least important of the three. You can convince me that defensive tackle that specializes in pass rushing is a premium position. I would rather take 2 and 16 and use them on those positions. But when you have outliers like Styles and Downs, I do think it's worth the conversation. Maybe not so much at 2, but this draft is so different where it's like you can get away with almost any player at the top of the draft if you're the Jets and probably not get killed for it, right? I think Ty Simpson might be the only player you could take at 2 where it's like immediate nationwide hate for the pick. If they take Styles at 2, I think a lot of teams would actually be really mad that they didn't get Sonny Styles at 4, or 5 to the Giants. So I'm all for the premium positions first, but you can convince me if the board falls in a way where they're like, okay, this guy at a non-premium position is 2 tiers higher than this guy at a premium position that we don't have a first round grade on. You got to go with the non-premium position in my opinion. That's a great question though. Thank you. Wild Wave says, if we draft Vega, would you trade Tippmann for? No, I wouldn't trade Tippmann for Laporta. Guard is still more important than tight end. I like Mason Taylor. I don't know. I don't think we should be in a rush to replace him as a starter. I don't think he deserves, the world as a starter. I don't think he's proven much yet, not even 400 yards, but I think he's a solid tight end 1. But no, I don't think I would trade an offensive lineman for a tight end, especially not straight up. Let's see what else we got. I saw another one right below that question here. All right. Jets Jesus says, DT, why does trading for a third add value to the Jets draft? Why does not having a third set them back? Are you saying just from like a fan perspective, why is this the narrative of trading? I think adding a third round pick, depending on how you do it, adds value to the Jets draft, but like trading up both your 4s or a 4 and a 5 to get a third, I don't know if that necessarily adds value. It just adds a pick between 44 and 103 that you get another swing at. I don't know if I subscribe to this narrative. I don't think having a third necessarily sets them back. I understand you want the third rounder. You don't want to give it away to Hassan Reddick, but I don't know if this like derails the plans in the draft at all. Do I do call-ins? Yeah, Jiggy, I appreciate you, man. I know we've chopped it up on Jake's show. Once I move into my new apartment or my new rental, we'll call it. It's not even an apartment. Once I get into the new place, I am gonna do like some sort of April draft call-in show. I did a call-in show last Monday for my birthday. So I'm gonna try to do about one call-in show a month. I feel like you guys responded pretty well. I had a decent amount of callers. I think we took like 6 calls that Monday, me and Nick Shine. So yeah, we'll do call-ins. There'll probably be like a 1 month or one show a month. We'll do call-ins and get your guys' opinion. But I think right before the draft or like a week or two before the draft, that'll be when it is. So you guys can give me all your Jets takes. Nick says, "What's up, Dylan? Keep up the good work, brother. I appreciate you, man." JETS, absolutely, Nick. I appreciate it. And I don't know if I recognize your name, so I appreciate you tuning in if you're new to the channel. Ralphie, yeah. Cooper Jr. at 16. I'm in the ballpark there. I would take Ty Simpson over him, just a little bit of value. I wouldn't take Ty Simpson over the other 3 wide receivers. But yeah, Cooper Jr., this is kind of his ballpark. Would I even be surprised if Cooper Jr. is taken before Mekhi Lemon or Jordan Tyson? Probably not, right? If he's the second wide receiver off the board, let's just say Cleveland takes Carnell at 6 and the Chiefs want Omar Cooper at 9, or the Rams want him at 13, or the Ravens want him at 14. I could see it. And then it could just push down a wide receiver to us, hopefully. But yeah, I think that's his ballpark. That's where it starts. I'd say the conversation for him starts at 9 with the Chiefs. But a lot of prospects conversations start at 9. It's kind of crazy, right? It's this draft, once you get out of like the top 5, even top 6, dude, you could give me 8 names for any number, like the Steelers at 21. They could go 5 different directions. That's the beauty and the ugliness of this draft, in my opinion, trying to cover it, is that so many different things can happen outside of like the top 10 that I don't think anybody is really anticipating or, talking about even at this point. And once we get to that week before the draft, that's when those rumors are going to start and everybody's going to go crazy. Like the Baker Mayfield stuff in 2018. He wasn't supposed to be the pick until like 48 hours before the draft. And then all of a sudden, Dorsey and the Browns pivoted. Kelly with the 5 gifted memberships. I appreciate that, Kelly. We have 5 new members of the A1 Since Day One community. I have you down in the Curtis Martin raffle for 5. Kelly got a membership, and then she gave a membership right away. I really appreciate that. I have you down for 5, as well as Ted and Peter Castro and Jake from this episode. Thank you so much. If you got a membership from Kelly, please thank her. We got Gary 3D Boxing in the house. What's up, Gary? I appreciate you hopping in here. Just over the hour mark. 89 of you guys in the room, hit the like button. Subscribe to the channel if you are new. We gained 3 subscribers today, so a bit of a slower show, but we're at 1,904, so 96 subscribers away from raffling off the Curtis Martin signed mini helmet. It's got the certificate of authenticity in there. I will ship it out as soon as we get the 2,000 subscribers. The very show following, we will give it away, and I'll get it out to you guys as soon as possible. With that, we'll take one more question here. If you got a burning question in here, throw it in the chat. But I like this one from Gypsy. I would take Sadiq if all the top wide receivers are gone and use him as a wide receiver 2 and tight end 2. Yeah, he's going to be your weapon 2. or like your weapon 2B to Adonai Mitchell, right? Like I think he would be above the pecking order of Mason Taylor even, so I'm not saying he's, tight end 1. He would still be tight end 2 in my opinion in terms of usage because Mason Taylor is going to be out on the field no matter what. But if you go like 21 personnel, maybe you take Sadiq off the field in that situation. But Sadiq as your power slot and blocking in space for Breece Hall, I could envision a lot of fun in this offense. So Kenyon Sadiq, I had him on the fence with Ty Simpson, and I actually leaned with Ty Simpson on that one. But I do think if they said, we just want an exotic offense and we want to have a 12 personnel, pseudo 11 personnel guy, and we can mix match and be unpredictable in our pre-snap picture that we're sending to the defense, yeah, I think Kenyon Sadiq would work well there. Yeah, Oscar, I've noticed the little patches of bumps, and I got a lot of free agency subscribers because I was able to tackle some live shows on the days where big transactions were happening for the Jets. So I noticed a big bump there too. But yeah, around the draft, I'm hoping for a little bit of a bump. And then, yeah, September last year, I remember everybody was excited. August, a little bit of August too. As soon as that smell is back in the air, right? And you think about football when you walk outside, that's when those subscribers kick up. And then it's very slow in October and November. At least it was this year because the Jets were not great. But yeah, it is interesting to see the waves of the subscribers and the listeners. And even right after the season ended, I remember doing the reaction to the end of season presser, and it got almost 1,000 views instantly. And I was like, whoa, okay. But fans were a little bit excited. The season was over. We don't have to dread watching these games anymore. We just want to turn our page to the future. So I understand when people come around like that. I totally get it. Carlos D in the Curtis Martin raffle for 1 with this $5 super chat. Carlos, I certainly appreciate that. He says, hey, DT, will you be going to the draft in Pittsburgh and joining the Asmaniacs? If so, my wife and I will be headed there. We hope to see you there. I would love nothing more than to make it to Jake's draft party in Pittsburgh. I don't know what the financial situation is going to look like as soon as I move into my apartment. I would like to say I'm keeping it open, which I am. I just think it's probably leaning a little bit more no as of right now. But if something changes and all of a sudden work picks up, I know we picked up a couple extra jobs for the beginning of April. If I can make this work and just get a quick flight up to Pittsburgh and back home, I would love to make this work because the draft is one of my favorite times, and I had one of my best times with the Asmaniacs in Tampa Bay. So to get to meet everybody, including your wife and you, Carlos, that would be awesome. And thank you so much for the super chat. You are in the Curtis Martin raffle. And with that, we will take one last one from Wild Wave. He says, one last question, Dylan. We thought all the meat and potatoes were in the middle of the rounds. Now they're moving into the first. Wouldn't it be wise to trade up and guarantee a blue chip? Yeah, I'm 100% of the mindset. There's blue chip guys, and then the ones right underneath are red chip guys. So even if you miss out on the blue chip guys and you think there's a possibility that a red chip guy is there and you can move up a couple spots from 16 and guarantee that guy, I'm all for it. You're not mortgaging the future, right? You're not giving up multiple ones or a 2 and a 1, like to come up 3 or 4 spots to secure yourself a guy that you strongly feel you can turn into the player that you think he can be. I'm never going to be against that. Now, if you trade up for a guy who's like generally looked at as like, why the hell did you do that? Right? Like imagine the Will McDonald draft reaction times 10. Those are the players you don't trade up for, obviously. But like the Jets are in such a spot where take 2 immediate impact players, maybe one on offense, one on defense, let them hit the ground running, and everything's going to be A-okay, in my opinion. Those guys almost can't fail. So that's how I view it. maybe it's a little naive, but I just think coming away with 2 blue chip players, regardless of, where they play on the field, offense or defense, I think it's worth it. Like Skrillex says, we need 2 blue chip wide receivers. I would just say 2 blue chip players in the first round. But yeah, I do think, wide receivers, you can never have enough good ones. And you always figure out a way, like the Colts, to get rid of the excess fat. You trim off the fat in the room if need be. But with that, an hour and 10 in the books. I appreciate everybody for tuning in. Thank you all so much for all of the memberships, the super chats. I have you all down on the wheel for the Curtis Martin helmet. Like the video, subscribe if you are new. We will be back tomorrow night talking all things Pro Day Circuit with our guy Kev from Buffalo Jet Fan. Appreciate everybody for tuning in. Have a great rest of your night. As always, let's go Jets.